It's amazing to me how God keeps bringing back all these memories just for the simple fact of being able to share my testimony on video. And the most recent one is how when we were living in New Orleans, right after I had my daughter, my youngest one, actually a year after, he was like, I want you to start smoking weed with me so that our relationship can get better and we can get closer. I have no clue why that smoking weed was the only thing that could cause us to get closer to each other. I had never smoked weed in my life. I wasn't raised like that, so my parents didn't drink, my parents didn't smoke, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, so I didn't know anything about that life. When, he brought that to me, I was like, that don't make a lick a bit of sense when I tell you. But I was like, you know what? I was actually willing to get closer to my husband at that time. So it was kind of like, you know what? Well, let's just see what this will actually do, So I was like maybe 27, maybe 28, because I remembered having my daughter at 27. And so this was so loony to me, but I was like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and do it. So I guess we actually got a little bit closer because what he would do, and he has done this throughout like the entire marriage, he would literally go off somewhere by himself and he would sit and he would smoke. And after he would smoke, he would just sit there like a zombie. If I ever came to him asking for something, talking to him, needing him to do something, needing him to help me with something, he would just sit there indoors with his glasses on and act like a zombie. And the one thing that I could not stand is that he did that all the time, every day. And I'm like, you know what? I actually spent 2 years out of my life smoking weed. 2 years. So from the time I was 28 to the time I was 30. And then I realized, I looked at my life and I was like, this stuff dumbs you down. It dulls you down. It mellows you to the point where you don't want to do anything but smoke all the time. And I was just like, my life is passing me by. If I continue to smoke, all I'm going to ever look forward to is my next smoke. My next smoke. Nothing ever more than that. And I remembered that's all I could ever want. Okay, when I started to get low, okay, when was I going to get some more? Okay, you know what? Let me hurry up and do this stuff in the house so I can go back and start smoking again and just sit there. But I guess kind of I was writing stuff down and stuff like that. But the whole point of it was that it might have gotten us close just for a little bit of time. But I had gotten to the point that I was like, wait a minute, I don't want my life to go like this. I do not want my life to pass me by. I do not want to not accomplish dreams in my life. And that's kind of what that stuff did to me. It gave me no ambition, no desire to want to do anything but smoke. And I was like, you know what? I got irritated. Like, I remember I would go off by myself, and anytime anybody would, call me or the kids would need my attention, I would get so upset because you were interrupting me. And I was like, you know what? This is not my life. And every time I say those words, this is not my life, that is when I realize something has to change and I make changes. And so I remembered being in this house, and it was actually a jacked up house that we were living in Kansas City, and I was upstairs and in the room, just crazy jacked up situation. But I remember getting a phone call from my father that lived in Phoenix. And he had told me over the phone that he had leukemia. And that was breaking point for me, because I was like, you know what? I'm over this. I can't live my life like this. And so as soon as my dad called me, I was talking to my dad for a while, and I just prepared at that moment to leave where I was, to go to Phoenix and be near my dad for however long that, he was going through dealing with having leukemia. And actually, so that was 2008. He actually passed a year later. So I actually went to Phoenix, moved into his house with him. He got to spend time with my kids, me, and I was just like, you know what? That was really breaking point for me. I have not picked up or smoked any weed since then, because my mentality on that was, those things, those drugs, those spirits that go along with those drugs, they control you. And I started thinking, I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to be stuck in one way forever. And it was like Phoenix was my land of opportunity all the time. All the time. So every time I was in Phoenix, no matter how many times I moved away, I always did well. And so that was the time when it was just like, you know what? I don't have time to smoke. That's not even a desire of mine. I only did that because my children's father, who was my husband at the time, thought that that would bring us closer. But guess what? Look at where we are now. We are no longer together. We are divorced. We have no communication. We have no friendship, no relationship, no nada. So I guess it didn't work anyway. So me looking back on that was like, you know what? I spent 2 years out of my life smoking weed, and that was it. It was not for me.